In early June, we finally got a look at Final Fantasy VII Revelation, the final installment of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy set to release in spring 2027. If you're dusting off your old save file, stepping beyond the walls of Midgar for the first time, or maybe just started or even restarted your adventure with the classic Final Fantasy VII ports, if you're craving more of Cloud & Co., the timing is absolutely perfect to dive into Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Since launch, Square Enix has done some serious work behind the scenes. This game looks, runs and plays totally differently than it did when it first came out in February of 2024. So here's everything major you need to know about what's been added to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth since launch. To really appreciate how much this game has evolved, we need to go right back to what players got in that massive 2-disc retail package on launch day.
What in the hell is going on here?
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was already a giant, fully featured RPG when it released, but that's not to say that there haven't been major updates along the way. Picking up directly where Remake left off, Rebirth took players from the small-town streets of Kalm all the way to the Forgotten Capital across massive, interconnected open zones. Right out of the gate, it took players about 45 hours on average to complete the main story. And while there technically wasn't a mode called New Game Plus, the post-credits chapter select worked effectively the same way. It let dedicated fans carry over their hard-earned character and weapon levels, progression, mastered materia, and skill trees into the start of any chapter in case they wanted to clean up side content or jump right into hard mode. All in all, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth offered well over 100 hours of content right out of the box. But all this didn't come without a cost. That level of visual fidelity and sheer scale pushed the base PlayStation 5 hardware to its limits. At launch, the community was frustrated with the trade-off between graphics and performance. The main gripe was with its notorious performance mode blur. While it could hit 60 frames per second, its muddy post-processing and heavy upscaling left Gaia looking blurry, washed out, and pixely on 4K TV screens. Then there was some frankly terrifying facial lighting bugs that director Naoki Hamaguchi had to apologize for, alongside some frequent texture pop-ins, especially whilst feeling the wind in your hair on a chocobo. But since then, thankfully, the developers didn't just leave us to complain on the internet. There was a steady stream of post-launch updates that improved the lighting for clearer and brighter cutscenes and environments. All this led up to the PS5 Pro hardware release, which introduced a dedicated versatility mode. This removed the need to compromise between graphics and performance by pairing the two together for Sony's mid-generation console refresh. Players could finally get the native 4K target of the original graphics mode and the locked 60 frames per second of performance mode, thanks to PlayStation's PSSR upscaling. January 2025 saw the launch of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on PC via Steam and the Epic Games Store. The headline addition here was the inclusion of Nvidia's DLSS frame generation, an AI technology that inserts new frames into your gameplay to improve performance. Alongside it, Square Enix packed in AMD FSR upscaling and fully adjustable graphic density slides. This means you could fine-tune how many background objects and NPCs render at once, scaling up to a locked, stunning 120 frames per second, if your rig could handle it. Now, when it came to traditional post-launch content, Rebirth took a bit of a different path than its predecessor. Remake got the massive standalone intermission DLC, which focused on a side story with Yuffie. So, on day one, the entire Final Fantasy fandom naturally assumed we'd get a similar mid-game narrative DLC for Rebirth. Maybe a standalone Vincent Valentine chapter, or a deep dive into Zack's timeline. But no such expansions came. Only Final Fantasy VII crossovers in other games, like the Power Wash Simulator DLC for a standalone Midgard-themed DLC pack where you clean 7th Heaven and the Hardy Daytona. There are also crossover events in mobile titles like Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. But inside Rebirth? Nothing. No premium cosmetics or microtransactions either. This meant the wardrobe stayed strictly tied to what players could unlock through their own blood, sweat and tears in standard gameplay. But why would you need new cosmetics when Cloud's rocking his Wild Surf swimsuit option? On June the 3rd, 2026, Square Enix dropped the monumental update 1.005, which introduces a total god mode game changer called Streamlined Progression. Now, if you hit a brick wall at launch, these are essentially developer-sanctioned built-in assists that you can toggle on or off at any moment right from the options menu. Enabling it grants your party invincibility with maximum HP and MP regeneration, full limit gauges, and further assists in battles and minigames. Alongside these combat modifiers came progression boosts designed to skip the resource grind, such as double EXP, triple AP, auto-collect, maximum materia, and unlock weapon abilities, without spending hours grinding. If you want to just skip the early game repetition completely, there was also a new Head Start mode. This lets you jump into a fresh new save file with your party at level 65, designed to scale players directly into the endgame content, with 70 being the game's cap. The update also tweaked some long-standing visual bugs by adding an in-engine and lighting enhancement. This cleaned up those lingering pop-ins and smoothed out some harsh shadows in bright outdoor areas. So, if you hit a wall and bounced off it at launch, this massive update to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth could be exactly what you need. But that patch wasn't the only thing to drop on June 3rd. In a historic multi-platform moment, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth finally dropped on Xbox Series X/S and Nintendo Switch 2. Now if you're Team Green, Square Enix packed in Xbox Play Anywhere support, meaning your progress carries over between your console setup and the Microsoft Store on Windows. More players who can play this amazing series is a win in my eyes. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has come such a long way since launch, with that huge Streamlined Progression update, its technical patches, and its historic jump to Xbox and Nintendo hardware. Square Enix has given us so many ways to experience Cloud's middle chapter before we stand with our companions against Sephiroth one last time in Final Fantasy VII Revelation, launching on, and I have waited so long to say this, Nintendo Switch 2, Xbox Series X/S, PS5 and PC in spring 2027. To help you track down all those hidden secrets, or just to maximize your Queen's Blood deck, make sure to check out our fully interactive map and strategy guides right here on IGN. Now, if you'll excuse me, seeing this massive multi-platform drop has got me itching to replay the original Final Fantasy VII ports that just dropped on the Switch 2. So, let us know in the comments which new platform or update feature you're diving into first, and for all things Final Fantasy, you're already in the right place, IGN.
Alright everyone, let's get this party started! Hope you're ready to boogie!